Good day, friends. This is Frank back again for part three of your job search and techniques. When we left off last time, we delved into talking about resources and things of that nature. And again, as a quick reminder, if you find yourself in a situation perhaps where you need a free cell phone, Google government U.S. government free phones, also popularly known as the Obama phone. You can search in your area to find local dealers who are actually giving them away. So, with that being said, getting into part three today, I wanted to talk just a little bit about something relatively new that you've probably been hearing about, which is called quiet quitting, silent quitting, people, employees who are fed up with their current jobs and just up and leaving their jobs. Let me just say that there's good and bad with all of that. Um, Personally, let me just say that for me, when it comes to my job descriptions, jobs I have worked, I have always been a person who has gone way above and beyond what my job description called for, even if I didn't get paid for it. Many today who are claiming that they're silently quitting their jobs, they're frustrated, they're not getting paid for what they feel they deserve, uh, they don't want to work outside the scope of their job description. But let me just say that there's many benefits to you as an employee if you can to learn as much as you can, sometimes go above and beyond. And I'm not talking about being abused by your employer. I'm talking about doing above and beyond to have a passion for what you're doing. And within that, many times you'll find that you'll be the one that will get the next promotion and even more money. Even if it isn't in that current state or company, when you get ready to leave on good terms. I would never suggest anybody to just up and quit their job, number one. And it's customary to give at least a 2 week notice, and especially in writing. Um, a copy to your immediate supervisor and a copy to your HR department. And you don't necessarily have to go into specifics why you want to leave. Again, you're giving them the common courtesy, letting them know that you do plan on leaving. It can only benefit you. And on the other side of the coin, if you're in mid to upper management, you better believe that the next company that you go to, they're going to want a recommendation and a referral from your former boss, and they're going to want to talk to them about your performance. And if you don't want to leave a bad taste in that employer's mouth. So, again, when it comes to quiet quitting, whatever, I personally don't adhere to that. I think there's other ways around that. Don't just take the status quo or what seems to be popular going on. Try to do a little research and work within the realms of your employer. And when I say work within the realms of your employer, if you feel that you're not getting paid fairly, or if you feel that you're unjustly being called to do more, talk it over with your superiors and see if you can come to any solution that way. Okay, enough said on that. So today I wanted to touch on resumes in part three here. Part three, resume writing, is very important. When I look at the word resume, the first thing I look at is I break up the word to resume. It means I'm resuming my career. It's another takeoff or platform, if you will, from where I am to where I'm going or want to go. And it's important that you understand that your resume is your life history as far as work history. Okay, perhaps you're newer to the job market. There are ways to write resumes for those of you that don't have much experience. To those of you who have a lot of experience, I would suggest that you check with your local libraries. You may even want to call information 211. Again, that's information 211. There are a wealth of knowledge and information in your particular community. Just say that you're looking for free advice for resume writing, and can you give me any phone number or leads in my particular area? Again, it's important that your resume is well thought out and formatted so that the employer is going to be able to look at it, analyze it, and come to a decision as soon as possible. I was a hiring manager for quite a number of years, and you have to believe and imagine as a hiring manager, when job openings would come up, I not only am I involved with my day-to-day activity, but now I have to set aside time to go through resumes to figure out how many people I want to call in, how many resumes I want to go through, and you better believe it that this has been said over and over. A hiring manager has approximately 60 seconds to look at that resume and to see if this is even somebody they even want to call in. Imagine 60 seconds. So you have to capture my attention within the first 60 seconds, even for me to want to take a second look now at your resume. Okay, for me, I made an A and a B pile. I would take the A pile over those that I was going to seriously consider taking a second look at and perhaps setting up an interview with. If I had, let's say, 3 job openings, okay, out of those 3 job openings, I could have anywhere from up to 2,000 resumes and applicants that came. I don't have time to go through 2,000 people, so I probably, believe this or not, I want to get down to 15 at the most. Okay, maybe I said I had 3 job openings, maybe 15 times 3 for each one of those jobs. Okay, so you have to be top notch. Your resume has to be top notch. Now, let me also say, if you're applying for a company that is medium to large companies, they use a system. You'll hear this phrase ATS. ATS stands for Applicant Tracking System. Applicant Tracking System is a very sophisticated software program that your employer uses to, when you send your resumes, they go ahead and they upload those resumes into that system. When they get ready for a hiring campaign, they're going to type in keywords that they're looking for, and you better believe that your resume better have those keywords in it, or else it probably won't even pop up for their consideration. So what do I mean by that? Let's say, for instance, you're a customer service representative. You're going to want to have words in your resume that mention customer service, resolution, communication, articulation, things of that nature that coincide with that particular job. Okay, so when they come ready to, again, go into the applicant tracking system, and this is usually done, by the way, at the human resource level. A human resource person will pull resumes. I, as a hiring manager, will let HR know what I'm looking for. It's up to them to give me the resumes that I want to look at. Okay, so sometimes people get frustrated and they say, Frank, it doesn't seem that I'm getting anywhere. I apply for job after job after job, and nobody even calls me for an interview. Well, there could be a lot of reasons, but let's start off first of all by saying that you need to have a good, sound, formatted resume. And there are many samples, by the way, out there. You can even Google yourself. Do a Google search for templates, free templates, resume writing, and they come up. And you know what? For every job category, there's a template for a resume. So if you feel that you need to start off from scratch, use one of those templates and begin to format your resume. I would say that your resume, and especially if you are a highly skilled person, been in the workforce a long time, one area that I would leave out that most people put in their resumes is a very opening, where they put a statement, why am I applying for this particular job? Well, I would jump right to qualifications personally, and that's what I do on my resume. I go right to qualifications. And this is what qualifies me, Mr. Employer, with the skill level I have to do the job that you're asking for. after qualifications comes in, then what I want to do is I want to write down and bullet point my skills that I have and list all the skills that you could think of that pertain to the particular jobs that you've done. And again, the job that you're applying for, make sure that you touch base on all of those skills. The next thing you want to do is work history. I would not go over 10 years in work history. Okay, so most people will tell you that. Most professional resume writers and job coaches will say you should go back up to 10 years in work history if you have that much. And again, if you're a newer worker and you don't have much work experience, well, simply put down, what you have. But again, what you want to highlight then, of course, is education. Did you go beyond high school? Do you have any certification or degrees? Make sure that gets put in your resume. For the most part, a resume should be no more than 1 page. If you are in engineering or technical field, whatever, you may have to go into a 2-page resume. But for the most part, you should keep it to 1 page. And even if you're going to go 10 years in work history, you can still do it. You can change the font to a smaller font. However, I would not go under a 10 or 11 size on the font. 11 would be more comfortable. Because again, you got to realize the one who's going to view your resume, you don't want them to have to strain their eyes, okay? So keep in mind that you want to format a good quality resume. Now, let's talk about a little bit after you do all that. So let's say, for instance, now you're going to get an interview. Okay, and you should find out how many people are going to be in that interview. Is it going to be the hiring manager? Is it going to be somebody from HR? Who else? Try to find out, and what I suggest you do is get some good resume paper, some good quality resume paper. You can get it at any stationery store. Even Walmart sells them, maybe about $8 to $10. You can get about 100 sheets of good quality paper. And what I would do is I would print out in high quality on a printer and bring them to everybody, every participant in the interview. Now, for you, please, please, please do not have a copy of your resume in front of you. And you go, Frank, why not? Okay, remember, you're the author of that resume. You should know your resume in and out. No matter what question they pose at you or look at your resume and ask you about, you should be comfortable enough not to have to look. And the reason why I don't want you to have a copy of the resume in front of you is I don't want your eyes to start looking down when they ask it. And then that kind of gives them the understanding, maybe this person didn't write the resume. Maybe they had somebody else do it. Okay, so you don't ever want to give them that impression. Okay, so again, you want to be confident in understanding who you are in the career field. Now, let me say a point right here to you older workers, mature workers, 55 plus. It's very easy to get into a situation in an interview where you begin reflecting too much on your past. If you reflect too much on your past, you may sound like a horse that's going out to pasture, okay? No longer valid, no longer needed. And keep in mind, again, that the person interviewing you may be a lot younger than you. They may not even have as much experience in years behind as you do. So you want to keep in mind that keep it simple. Yes, mention the past successes and whatever, but move on from there to what you can do now, currently, for this particular position at hand. So now, your resume, looking at your bullet points, looking at your skill level. Make sure that within your mind you can understand at any given time whatever question comes your way, you'll be able to answer it. Now, there's nothing wrong with this, and I've done this too, matter of fact, in an interview. Let's say, for instance, they ask you a question beyond your resume and something that maybe threw you for a loop. And rather than you having to sit there for 2 or 3 minutes trying to come up with an answer, say, you know what, that's a very good question. Could I get back with you on that? Nothing wrong with that. It shows honesty, it shows integrity, and it shows that you are willing to want to give them a proper answer. let me tell you, there was a young man that I interviewed. I did a mock interview with, and then I sent him out to a real interview. Well, the interviewer asked him a mathematical question. Now, my candidate, he thought he was going to really excite this person by saying some lie and making up some answer, not even realizing that the employer already knew the right answer, but he wanted to see if the candidate did. Wrong. Okay, so the after the interview, I called the candidate. Oh, I think it went great. Yeah. So then I called the because he hadn't heard from the employer, so I called him a couple of days later, and he says, "Well, you know what, sir, I'm passing by on your candidate because I caught him in at least a couple of lies. He didn't realize that, and I'm sure he didn't realize that I already knew the answer. I just wanted to see if he knew the answer." So don't get yourself into a situation. Even you can do that with your resume. Don't ever lie on your resume if it's something that you haven't done or don't know about. There's ways of fluffing things. When I say the word fluff, not necessarily lying, but maybe, trying to extend a little bit more than what your knowledge is. But make sure, for gosh sakes, that you know what you're talking about. And again, if it's something that you don't know about, be in the position of willing to learn. Okay. So again, your resume should be maybe one page. For those of you that are techie kind of people, maybe 2 pages. I have seen engineers who have had up to 4 pages of resumes, and you know what? For some of them, that's totally acceptable in the field that they're in, but it's not going to be for the everyday person. Okay, so keep it to 1 page, keep it simple, keep it clean, and lay it out to where if I was try to put yourself in the position of the employer. If I was the one reading the resume, would it make sense to me what I'm reading? So again, on the very top of your resume, have a good, bold, bigger font with your full name. Then underneath, your address, email contact, phone number, and all that, and make sure it's clear and concise. Okay, so they can get a hold of you, and make sure all your information is up to date. If you recently changed your email address or cell phone number or whatever, make sure it's current on your resume. I've seen, and I've done it myself, by the way, in the past, where I've had an older resume and I was going to use it, and not realizing that I needed to update that information before it went out to the employer. So be careful and make sure that happens. All right, well, this is part 3. We're going to continue on with part 4 later on this week. So any questions you have for me, down below, okay? And don't forget to hit that notification and that like button, and we will see you soon. Thanks. Bye.